And again, as I have said from Ash Wednesday on, this season is not about doing penance. This season is about conversion. Listen to the first reading. Listen to Paul. You remember in the first reading, he said, do you remember everything that God did? Do you remember how God destroyed the armies in the flood? Do you remember how God took you through the desert? Do you remember all of that? Well, forget it. Because that's not what's important. What you have to see is what God is doing right now. God is not a God of history. God is a God of now. And those things in the past are meant to help us see God now, present. Paul starts talking about, one time I was controlled by the law. And I did everything because of what the law said. And I followed the law. But now, I understand what it is to live in Jesus Christ. I understand what it is to live by grace. I understand what it is to live in unconditional love. That is what this season of Lent is about. This reading, as we get ready to head into Palm Sunday, to get ready to head into Easter, to Holy Week, the most important line, I think, in all the readings today is, see, I make all things new. We are given the chance to experience that newness. That our conversion isn't based on our penance. That penance is based on our conversion. That when we see that we have done something wrong, we change our lives, and we change our hearts, and we change the way that we do things, and that we think about things, and that we say things. That when all of a sudden I understand that I am a sinner, and I accept forgiveness, I can let down my rock and walk away. And putting down my rock and walking away is not a condition of being forgiven. It is a result of being forgiven. Forgiveness is free. An interesting side note. In early manuscripts, this particular passage was omitted from the Gospel of John because people were afraid that we common folks would misunderstand it. That we would think that it was okay to sin because God would forgive us. That we would think that there was no need to do penance in order to receive forgiveness. And so it was kind of like just left out because you couldn't understand it. Because it's so hard for us to sometimes understand that God's love is so complete and so full and so unbounded by anything that whether we are sorry for our sins or not doesn't stop God from forgiving us. God's forgiveness is not based on our sorrow. God's forgiveness is not based on anything that we do in terms of penance. God's forgiveness is based on God's love for us. When we understand that, when we accept that, when we truly understand what that means for us and see that all things are made new, we change. Not because we have to, but because we want to. Because that is the power of love.